Hey everybody, welcome back to PixelJunkies podcast, episode 193. It is November 11th. It is January 11th, 2019.
It would have made sense if you said November 1st, but it is not that. Anyway.
Not to derail the podcast at the beginning, is definitely because there's not a lot to talk about this week. But what are your guys' preferred arrangement of dates? I like year, month, day. That's my standard. I like that one a lot.
Year, month, day?
I would agree.
Or day, month, year.
I would say just because I deal a lot in organizing files and stuff, and you guys probably do as well. But I find it best to go year, month, day. But if you're gonna just talk about something in passing, I feel like you would go month, day, year, and how it would be commonly written. Just because you say generally, I think you say the month before the day. You'd say it's January 11th. You don't say 11th of January. I don't know. I mean, you can say it.
Well,
that,
I do, but I sound like an asshole. So
If I receive correspondence and it is not dated second, minute, hour, day, month, year, not only do I not understand it, I refuse to look at it.
Are you a plebeian who doesn't consider microseconds?
A plebeian.
Femtoseconds? You don't break it down beyond the second barrier? What kind of fucking pleb-ass timekeeper are you? Also, something that the frequent podcast listeners might notice, whenever we do an audio podcast, I usually sound like absolute dog shit because the mic I was using before was broken. But I got a brand new mic. It's a Blue Yeti. That's why my voice sounds nice and buttery.
No one's going to hear Adam in this podcast because he just jinxed it. So that's what happened to his audio. Anyway, what are you guys at? We're all wrapped up. We're into the new year. What's everybody doing? How's things going?
Me.
Oh man, not again.
I'm having a pretty good new year so far. None of my favorite games have come out yet that I'm looking forward to this year. But at the same token, well, they're the ones I'm looking forward to.
It's been 11 days and no AAA blockbusters. 0
but
10
also, stuff like Anthem hasn't come out and ruined my life yet. So it's kind of
what if it comes out and it's amazing?
Yeah, but it won't. But if it does, then I'll say, well, I was very wrong about that. That's a win-win.
To talk about.
That's a win-win. Let's say
I have no strong opinion one way or the other, legally binding.
I will say I did receive some good news the other day.
What is that?
So
good
I got
news,
this, I have this long-term friend. I haven't really seen them for a while.
No, I need you to explain what good news is.
Well, okay. Well, hang on.
Oh.
I had this long-term friend.
Like if Scarlett Johansson said she wanted to suck you off, like that.
Yeah. So, I have this long-term friend.
That's just bad news for Scarlett Johansson.
So, I have this long-term friend.
It's all perspective.
So, I have this long-term friend, and I've known him since...
So Scarlett Johansson... Oh, it's a him. I remember.
I'll say early 2000s. Yeah, that's around when, 2000... I kind of met them in 2000, but I really got to know them or 2001, I guess. But I really got to know them in 2004. And I was they're a really good friend, and I was friends with them for years and years and years, right up until 2010 or whenever, when I entered into university. And then, for whatever reason, they ended up getting into this relationship with this really abusive, horrible girlfriend. Nobody liked her. She was awful. We all told them she was bad news. But anyway, long-term relationship. They even got, they got engaged. Anyway, this week, they've broken up. Finally, for the first time in 8 years, we're all really happy that we got our friend back. I'm of course talking about
Jessica.
Bungie. Sorry, I'm talking about Bungie. Yeah.
Oh, I thought you were serious.
Oh, that's what you get when that's the quality of Adam acting you get when
you're
you get
a quality storyteller, Adam.
It's almost like I should have some sort of D&D game on the go.
Yeah, you should.
Anyway, so Bungie and Activision have split, and I'm pleased and I'm optimistic about it.
Now when Destiny sucks ass, you can be even more disappointed.
Yeah, that's why I'm cautiously optimistic. I really, really hope that most of Destiny's woe was the result of Activision, but in the back of my head, there's a little voice that's saying, it's probably also just as much Bungie's fault.
Oh,
Yeah,
it
maybe.
absolutely is.
Yeah.
But on a positive, well, maybe not. Thinking about it going forward, but I'm gonna say now that they're not related with Activision, we might end up with the next Destiny on Steam. Although, getting a little bit later into the podcast, we'll probably see why it's not going to end up on Steam.
Hopefully it'll be cool to get it on Steam. Does Activision have their own launcher?
Well,
No.
Battle.net is what they
right.
use for their PC shit.
Yes.
So they don't
Because
really have their own
it's
launcher.
Activision Blizzard. So Blizzard has a launcher, but they're like all the Call of Duty games are on Steam.
Yeah. So are the Call of Duties on Battle.net as well, or just Steam?
I don't know if Black
Not
Ops
just Steam, but-
4 is on there. I think there was kind of a push.
I think you mean not shit Fortnite.
I think there was kind of a push from Blizzard to
Slightly
just
better
have
than
Blizzard,
Fortnite.
just keep Blizzard games on there, and I think Destiny was something that was maybe contractually it had to be on there. But
Worth noting that Destiny will remain on Battle.net for PC
yeah,
going forward.
but I wonder if it'll also come as something else. Maybe.
Yeah, it'd be cool if it came to, something people use like Steam and not other launchers that we'll talk about.
We'll get to that.
Adam,
Okay, yeah.
do you know what my favorite superhero is?
Oh, jeez.
MODOK.
Is it MODOK? He's technically
No.
a super villain.
Yeah,
Although he did have a kind of heroic
No,
role.
Andrew got a
the-
pretty good argument for the contrary.
Okay. Your mic was doing something weird there.
Mine?
Yeah, it went all
That's probably
crap body.
Discord.
Oh, okay, well that's good. Is it everybody's favorite underwater king of Atlantis, Namor?
It
The Submariner.
It
Oh, man.
is Namor.
He's way better than the other guy.
Yeah, he's not even orange. Like the other
What?
guy's orange. It's a stupid color.
The other guy's
Do
not
you
even
know-
a detective.
Do you know what Namor's main power is?
Submarine sandwiches.
It's he's strong and he can jump. I think he can fly.
Oh man, is he on Netflix? 'Cause,
No.
that was like all the superheroes on Netflix. Their main superpower is strong. Which is
Namor's
really
not
a
even on
superpower.
basic cable.
Fucking.
You gotta go to some fan videos on YouTube to find Namor.
He was actually one of Marvel's first ever superheroes. So he's as old as Captain America.
Yeah.
And the original Human Torch. Not to be confused with the more popular Human Torch in the Fantastic Four.
To derail this entirely, what's the appeal of Captain America?
I don't know, I like Captain America. He's
Like-
he's like a wholesome hero.
Yeah, I like that about him, but I mean, at the end of the day, Iron Man is cooler.
I would disagree.
Yeah, see, that's what I don't get. A guy like a wholesome dude with a piece of metal he flings around is not
Yeah, but
cooler than Iron Man.
Well, I mean, there's so many, like, for every good story you can tell with Iron Man, you can tell an equally good story with Captain America, just like a different one. I mean, like,
Yeah, but I don't
Iron Man,
care
you get a
about
lot of really
stories.
cool, like, World War
It's
II.
on principle.
Oh, on principle? I don't know. It's
It's
cool
a
that
dude
you
in a
have
mech
this.
suit.
You have this dude whose basic superpower is that he's just a really good human with a metal flimsy shield, and he's able to keep up with literal gods of thunder.
Also,
and
he's really
billionaire-
strong. Doesn't
Yeah,
he
but
have superhuman abilities
Yeah,
now?
he is.
Well, technically, his powers, he's at the peak of human, like he's as strong as a human could go without gaining proper superpowers.
He can
So he's
also
just a
run
good
his-
human.
He can also
Yeah.
run as fast as an African black guy in a vibranium suit.
Yeah,
So that's pretty. Up
I mean,
there.
to be fair, Black
Are you
Panther
insinuating
has,
that black people have reached the maximum speed of humans?
Pretty well, yeah.
Well, I think what I would insinuate is that if somebody was going to reach the maximum speed of humans, it would be black people because they consistently are much faster than any kind of pasty ass.
Except for
white dude.
Usain Bolt, because I think he's Jamaican.
I can't tell if we're being funny racist or just racist.
Is that why is it racist?
It's not racist. It's acknowledging the fact that like the winners of every like sprinting competition in the Olympics are black people for the last like
It's
10
kind of
years.
funny, but it's also true. I don't
Yeah.
know why it's racist. Pointing
If
out
anything,
something
it's racist
Because it's a
Racism.
stereotype.
It's not a stereotype if all. I'm not saying every black person is fast. I'm just saying every fast person is black.
Anyway, Aquaman.
Well, we're done.
Is it Aquaman? Is that your favorite hero?
No, it was Namor. But
Are you
tell
saying
me
that
why
black
Aquaman
people
is way
can't be
better.
good with fish or whatever?
So, last week's podcast was our year in review, and my fourth favorite film of the year was Aquaman, which was a film I had seen like 2 days before, or like the day before, and I said it was really, really good. I still stand by that, but I didn't really have an opportunity to express my full thoughts and feelings on the Aquaman movie in the podcast, so I wanted to give
Off
the
the
opportunity
top,
here.
does Amber Heard whip out her chesticles?
No.
All right, well,
Obviously not.
There.
Although
You had an
her
opportunity.
costume has a very low neckline, so like almost, like kind of.
Yeah, she would have done it though. I feel like.
Would she?
Yeah.
What else has she been in? Has she whipped out her testicles and other things?
Her
Testicles?
testicles.
God damn it.
I believe so. I could be wrong on that though. I believe she has.
She was married to Johnny Depp.
Yeah.
Really?
Isn't she like
Was she-
bisexual or something? Or is that just strongly
Was she the
implied?
one he beat?
Yeah, he threw a cell phone at her or something and scarred her forehead.
That's good.
Yeah.
And
I thought that was like one of the things in like the early footage they showed of Aquaman that you could see the scar on her forehead, like they did nothing to hide it. I don't know if that was evident.
Where'd you
in the
get that?
movie or
It'd
not.
be funny if in the show like Aquaman was like, "Where did you get that scar to, Mara?" And she'd be like, "Johnny Depp," and everyone stops and looks at the camera, and there's like 10 seconds of awkward silence, and then just go on with the movie.
Yeah, that would have made the movie really good.
The
It would have
movie is
really
already
improved
really
the
good.
script.
I watched after I watched the movie and gave my put it on my list of films of the year. I watched Funhouse's movie podcast where they talked about Aquaman, and James really summed it up very well. That this movie is just bonkers, but in the absolute best way possible. There is so much crazy shit that happens during this film. It's astounding. This movie is the fastest. It's not that it's fast paced, but it's not like it's quick because it's such a dense narrative movie that there is so much going on. They're trying to fit like 3 different storylines into this, and I'll be honest, if they didn't succeed a little bit, I mean, it's not like you're not dealing with like a great script, and you're not even dealing with like a script from like an equivalent movie that I thought was pretty good, like Winter Soldier. I thought Winter Soldier had a really good script, but
Except the Avengers were kind of necessary, I felt. But anyway, this is beside the point.
Well, no, okay, but this movie
and the Winter Soldier, I mean, like the plot just kind of outgrew the cast a little bit.
I guess. Anyway, that's neither here nor there.
Worst movie of all time.
Well, Civil War then. How about that?
I guess so.
But this movie, there's just so much fucking happening, and most of it is good. There's a few bad things, so I'll get to the bad things first. There's a scene at the beginning where, like, one scene where Aquaman is young and he's in a museum or in an aquarium.
Or one of them.
Yeah, and he's getting bullied. And anyway, that scene goes nowhere. And it's like he gets bullied, he gets the fish to look at him weird, and then everyone's like, "Oh my god, he is the Superman." And then the scene ends, and they never bring up the bullying or anything again. He's not like he's talking to the villain in the final fight, and he's just like, "You know the reason I don't like you? You're a bully." He got bullied as a kid, and I don't know, it unlocked his powers or something.
Adam, I'm having a hard time believing that an intro scene to a movie where the lead is a child could be in any way bad.
Well, you will be surprised. So the movie begins with Jango Fett, and I'm not even kidding. It's the same dude who plays Jango Fett is Aquaman's father.
He needs more acting. I'm glad he's in this.
Yeah, Jango Fett finds Nicole Kidman washed up on the beach because she drowned. Even though she can breathe water, she drowned. And he performs CPR on her, and she comes around, and they end up falling in love, and the union of their love is Aquaman, and
Was she
his name
faking it?
His name is Arthur. No.
So just hammered.
Well, to be fair, Jango Fett doesn't find her washed up on the beat. It's like the younger Jango Fett played by an unknown actor. Anyway, so they live a quiet life.
There's so many young characters that get old in this movie. What the fuck is going on?
So then, a few years pass, and Nicole Kidman and Jango Fett are enjoying themselves on a, just because this Queen of Atlantis fell in love with a lighthouse keeper, so they're living their life of peace in this lighthouse.
Romantic.
And then a bunch of Atlantean soldiers break in, and they want the queen back because she's like, you got to marry your stupid king, and she's like, no, and she beats the shit out of them, and then she's like, she kills them. And then she's like, well, I can't stay here because they're just going to keep coming after me. So I guess I got to go back. And then the Jango Fett's like, but that's stupid. They came here to kill you. And he's like, yeah, but like, I don't want you getting caught in the crossfire. And he's like, that's fair, I guess. I already died to Samuel L. Jackson once. So anyway, she leaves. And then smash cut to,
Samuel L. Jackson in the movie?
No, he's not. No, I wish he was.
Purple window.
So then smash cut to a submarine, a Russian submarine, because it couldn't be American, because they can't show American forces being like decimated. That's being attacked by pirates, being led by the villainous Black Manta, who's actually the best part of this movie. Anyway,
but also has the stupidest fucking helmet I've ever seen.
It's awesome, man. It shoots laser beams. It's awesome.
It looks fucking stupid.
No, man, it looks awesome.
I looked it up after because I had never heard of that character, and
yeah.
I got a couple of pictures of like that's gotta be some stupid fucking fan art. Like, nope, it's a shot from the fucking movie.
No, it's good. It looks good. I think it looks awesome. It looks good because it's stupid and silly, and it matches the tone of the film, because the tone of the film is stupid and silly, but in a really good way. So anyway, they're stealing a sub, and then Aquaman comes in and beats the shit out of them. And so Black Manta fights Aquaman, and he gets the shit kicked out of him. On
a side note, I just typed in Black Man because I'm searching for Black Manta.
Yeah.
And Google result was Black Man runs fast, which is really weird.
Google's racist tootin', Andrew.
Was that actually the first result?
No, I was making a joke.
Oh, okay. So then Aquaman and Black Manta fight, and then Aquaman, knocks him out, and then Black Manta's father, who's also on the submarine, comes down and shoots Aquaman with a grenade launcher, and that doesn't kill him, but it does knock him back. And so then Aquaman takes a torpedo, because they're in a submarine, and he hits the father with him and pins him to the ground. And then the father is like, fuck you, and then blows a hole in the side of the ship with his grenade launcher, so the ship starts filling up with water. So then because the father's pinned by the torpedo, he's gonna drown. And so Black Manta's like, move the torpedo, Aquaman, help me. And Aquaman's like, nah, you guys are pirates, you deserve your fate. So he walks off, and then Black Manta's like, rah. So then he like, his father's like, you gotta leave me and get revenge, son. So he does. And then, so the father dies, and it's actually quite not touching, but like they do a good job of portraying like the relationship between, like, they make Black Manta a little bit sympathetic, like you can understand where he comes from. It's like, oh, he wants revenge for his father, that makes sense. And then to kind of go over the whole, I won't go over the whole movie, but just hitting some of the highlights here. So fast forward a lot, Ocean Master, who's another villain in this movie. This movie has two villains.
Who
is? Ocean Master is his name.
Do Aquaman and Black Manta team up to defeat Ocean Master?
No, Ocean Master and Black Manta team up to defeat Aquaman.
Oh.
So Ocean Master is trying to gather all of the Atlantean tribes together so he can wage a war on the surface.
Either we should be rooting for Ocean Master or his name is wrong.
Why?
Oh, because isn't Aquaman like the main guy?
Yeah.
So isn't he like the real master of the ocean?
Well, that's they're fighting over that title kind of, because it's the true king of Atlantis is the Ocean Master.
Oh.
And so yeah. Anyway.
Are you insinuating that mans are masters?
In this case, yes.
Mans.
Anyway, so Orm's like, the Ocean Master's like, we gotta kill the humans because they're polluting their water. Because this movie pretends to have an environmental message for like a couple of minutes here and there. And then they're like, and then all the Atlantean tribes are like, nah, like, we're not gonna do that. And then he convinces them, and I won't spoil how. And then they're like, you're right, we gotta go to war.
Their moms have the same name or something.
we need to, and he's like, I got to gather all the different tribes of Atlantis together because only then will I have an army powerful enough to wipe out the humans on the surface. And then, without any of the other tribes, he then causes massive tidal waves that literally push every ship on Earth onto the shore along with all of the ocean's garbage. Pushes that all onto the shoreline. This is without the other tribes of Atlantis' help. He just does this.
Why did he need their help?
That's a good question. Why couldn't he just cause massive tidal waves? I don't know. Maybe it's to get those tricky landlocked states like Wyoming or most of Canada.
Maybe it's so all the tribes wouldn't come after him after he did it.
I guess, but the thing that I don't get, he's like, humans are invading our space, and they're dumping all of their trash in the ocean, and so in my opening gamut, I'm gonna take them out of the ocean and push all their trash back up on shore, and I'm like, you just got what you wanted, dude! Why do you need to go to war? You could have done that from the beginning! And then, so, the long and short of it is, Aquaman and Mera, have to team up. Mera is another noble and Aquaman's love interest. She's played by Amber Heard. They have to team up and get Aquaman, the fabled Trident of Atlantis, which is only the one true king can wield. And it's funny, because it's just like King Arthur and Excalibur, and Aquaman's real name is Arthur. So then they go to the desert, the middle of the Sahara Desert, to do a Nathan Drake level. And after that's done, they go to Greece, and they have a really fucking, honestly kick-ass fight scene with Black Manta in Sicily, which is actually really good fun. One of the better superhero fights I've ever seen, and it's really, really good. And then they go to the Marianas Trench or something, a very deep trench, and they fight all these creatures from the Black Lagoon.
And James Cameron.
And then they go down past the creatures of the Black Lagoon into this super special underwater ocean, which then has another landmass on it that just happens to have dinosaurs on it because they come out of the water and there's dinosaurs walking around. It's not just because of the dinosaurs, although they did help. And then he fights. Do you mind spoilers?
You know what? Our listeners might, but I guess we'll put up a time code to when there won't be spoilers.
Oh, great.
Aaron's not doing that. So then he fights a kaiju for the Trident of Atlantis. Meanwhile, while all that's happening, Orm is gathering the different armies of Atlantis, except the one so he has the Atlanteans, the people who look like the Atlanteans, except they got red hair. He's gathered the mermaids, and then the only tribe that's left are the crab people. But the crab people don't want
Crab people?
Yeah,
There are
literal
crab people in this movie?
And they're the only ones who won't join Ocean Master's side. And so, while Aquaman's fighting this kaiju for the Trident of Atlantis, there's a massive CGI battle between the crab people and their giant crab mechs on one side, and then Orm the Ocean Master and the Atlanteans with their big underwater star destroyers and their legions of shark cavalry. Oh, and I forgot to mention that Ocean Master rides on an aquatic dinosaur called the Mosasaurus from Jurassic World. That's what he rides on. That's where that monster ended up after Jurassic World 2.
Same universe.
Yeah, pretty much. So they all go to war, and there's a big CGI fight, and it's absolute bonkers because you see crab people getting ripped apart by sharks, and telosaurs eating giant seahorses that have claws. And then Aquaman comes out of the ground riding the kaiju, and then the kaiju starts smashing stuff around and taking ships and blowing them to pieces and eating things. And all the animals in the ocean come to Aquaman's aid and start eating all the evil Atlanteans. And he's like, there's sharks and orcas and leopard seals and all that nonsense, and blue whales are smashing holes through Atlantean ships because I guess blue whales are armor piercing. And then Mera is like, Aquaman, I forgot to mention that Aquaman and Ocean Master had an underwater duel before in a Gladiator remake, like a remake of Gladiator, except it was underwater and there was a giant.
How the movie portrays it as well. It gets to a bit and you're like, oh yeah, hang on, I was supposed to tell you this bit, and then
it's actually brilliantly laid out. And then,
oh, hang on, wait, we gotta go back and explain this bit.
So they have this gladiatorial arena which is built near an underwater volcano in the city of Atlantis, and playing the drums in this arena is a giant squid, and he's just playing the drums, and they end up having this underwater duel, and Ocean Master beats the shit out of Aquaman. So then fast forward to the end of the movie, they're like, Aquaman, the only way you can beat Ocean Master is if you beat him on your terms, on the surface, because only you can fight good on the surface. And so he's like, you're right. And so he punches Ocean Master out of the water, and they beat the shit out of each other. But because he has the Trident of Atlantis, he's able to win the fight. And he doesn't kill the bad guy. He like breaks the bad guy open, and beats the bad guy. And the bad guy's like, oh, you beat me, kill me. He's like, no, too much blood has been spilled this day. And then Nicole Kidman comes back, and Ocean Master's
Wait, Nicole Kidman is in this movie?
Yeah, she was the mother.
Yeah, pay attention.
And then Nicole Kidman's like,
sorry
I've
if I
been
can't
alive
follow
all the
this
time,
plot.
son. Because I forgot to mention that when they went to the dinosaur ocean, that's where Nicole Kidman was the whole time. They thought she was dead, but she ended up in the dinosaur place. So then she's like, there's no reason to fight anyone, Ocean Master, because apparently your motivation for being a villain was that your dad murdered me, and that's why you hate humans. I'm alive! And they're like, oh, I guess I was evil the whole time. And then everyone has a big happy reunion on this thing. And I'm skipping out a lot of the fucking
What
plot
happened
points
to
of the
Black
movie.
Manta?
There's so the best part is trapped to the fight in Sicily, which was awesome, but he does lose. At the end of the movie, some dude finds him adrift in the ocean, barely alive, and nurses him back to health. And so it's like, oh, he's gonna be the villain of the next movie. It's gonna be great.
Well,
and
he's not gonna show up at all.
There's so much bonkers stuff going on in this movie. I didn't even mention the fact that there was an epic underwater Tron car chase, or that there was a bit in an airplane that was like right out of a fucking Uncharted game, and that there was a Willem Dafoe's in this movie. They have like 2 training montages with Willem Dafoe. It was awesome. Also, there's so much stupid logic in this movie. Like they're like, Atlanteans can only breathe water, except for the ones that look really human, which are the noble ones. They can breathe both air and water. Why isn't that only Aquaman's thing, since he's part human and part Atlantean? Because we need to have some of these characters up on the ocean out of the ocean without their helmets on, because otherwise the movie would be fucking stupid. There's so much, and they forget about half the stuff. Like, Ocean Master literally took all of the boats on the planet and pushed them onto the shore, and nobody brings that up again, that he seems to have that kind of power.
All the trash too. I would imagine all the trash is like way more than the ships.
Oh yeah, it's clogging up all the beaches, and they show Newfoundland. Newfoundland's in the movie. They're like,
apparently a fair chunk of the movie was shot here.
Yeah, it's absolutely incredible, because it like Aquaman's fighting Willem Dafoe in a training exercise.
Yeah, and Jason Momoa likes this place or whatever.
Yeah, so it like the movie is so jam packed with stuff that before you have time to question the logic of one scene, it's like, hey, wait, hang on a minute. How did Nicole Kidman drown if she can breathe water? The movie's just forget that fucking scene. Do you want to see Aquaman getting bullied in the school? It's like, well, why isn't Aquaman just fighting the bullies if he's super strong?
Aquaman.
Don't ask questions. Moving on. We gotta watch
Aquaman.
Ocean Master.
Was Alan Hacko in the movie?
What?
Was Alan Hacko in the movie?
No, not that I could see.
Oh.
It'd be awesome if Black Manta pulled off his mask and it was Alan Hacko the whole time. No! This is such a bonkers movie, but it's awesome. Like,
I gotta be honest, it kind of sounds great. I don't want to see it.
It's awesome in every way that Michael Bay's Transformer movies should have been, but aren't, because Michael Bay, like, Transformers is stupid when you get right down to it, but like, the problem with the Michael Bay movies is they're embarrassed by the Transformers, it seems, so they're trying to make them cool instead of leaning into the stupid and kind of silly nature of Transformers.
Yeah, that's fair.
Or even more similar, a better example, the Ninja Turtles movies. The Ninja Turtles are fucking stupid when you kind of just sit down and analyze it, but they're awesome, so who cares? And that's why this movie succeeds, because everyone's like, yeah, superheroes are dumb, Aquaman is really dumb. Let's lean into that and make the movie as bonkers as we possibly can. So that's why the scene of the movie are sharks fighting kaiju with dinosaurs and crab people and battleships going at it, and then there's a big fight with tridents and I didn't even mention the what was her name, Amber Heard's character can control water, so she's like beating people up with water even though they're in water. It's awesome. That's pretty much all I gotta say. Oh, and the soundtrack's really good. They have a really 80s synth like soundtrack vibe. And the visuals are stunning. Like a lot of the places they go to are really visually stunning. So like the actual throne of Atlantis looks like if Tron was cool. Anyway, I'm done.
Well, I don't know. I think you've probably sold the movie to at least somebody. You know, if anybody actually listened to this podcast.
Yeah.
It sounds more self-aware than the other DC things have been, which is good.
It's
not
really
that
self-aware.
interested in it.
It's really self-aware. Like, you know how like did you guys see the Justice League movie?
Nope.
No.
Well, there's bits in the Justice League movie.
I saw the fight at the end, and it looked really disappointing.
It was. But there's bits in the Justice League movie. You can really tell where they got, what's his name, to come in and do reshoots. Because the movie is like dour, you know, like grim dark, like mean. And then there's weird scenes where they try to add some humor into it, and it's just like, that's really out of place. This movie is like, nah, we're going for funny action all the time. And honestly, the action's pretty good as well. Like, there's good fight scenes. Like, the punches all feel like they got weight behind them. And the two villains, honestly, like, come across really well. Even though, like, Ocean Master's plan and motivations are fucking stupid. Like the actor, I forget who plays him, does a really good job of, like, emoting. So he's, like, he doesn't come across... Like, you get the sense he's just, like, yeah, I'm in an Aquaman movie, but, like, I'm still gonna, like... I'm not, like, this is stupid, but I'm still gonna give it, like, a good try. So he doesn't come across as, like, forced or awful. Like, you can tell he's actually trying to, like, make it seem better, and like it is not, and it's like he and Aquaman actually have a couple of good scenes for like, in another world we could have been friends or whatever. So it's a good movie.
Cool.
All right, welcome back everybody who skipped to this time.
For those of you who skipped this time, it's a good movie because it has good action, it has good soundtrack, good visuals, the characters are decent, and it's just very self-aware and doesn't mind leaning into the goofy, bonkers nature of Aquaman.
There you go.
Well, we can move on now.
The second item on the list. Actually, I guess we already talked about it. So we can probably move on to the next thing, because I think you said everything with that. Unless you want to have anything else to say about the Bungie thing.
No, I mean, there's not really much to say, because there's like, you know, we'll have to wait and see what Bungie does now that they've been unshackled. Hopefully they're good, but
I wonder what happened.
Yeah, I'm also interested.
I just read that there was some tensions between the two for a while, and they
obviously
they just wanted to do their own thing.
You don't get games like Destiny without there being a lot of tension there.
No, and I think that like because of their fan base now and the money that they've made with Destiny, they're able to self-publish going forward. So I said, fuck it. So
good for them, I guess. Hopefully they make better games.
Surprised they were able to take Destiny with them.
Yeah,
I'm surprised Activision let that go.
Destiny 2 must have been selling much worse than.
Well, I mean,
we thought.
They basically gave it away for free in September. So
shit.
Anyway,
yeah.
Do you want to talk about the other big news thing this week?
I guess
Andrew.
Oh no! What?
What's your? If you had to pick a favorite launcher, what would be your favorite launcher?
Well, right now it would probably be Uplay, but I'm leaning towards the new Epic Games launcher because there
That's
are
wrong.
No
the right
games
answer was an
it.
RPG 7. Can you tell we're vamping?
No, we're vaping at them.
Shut
Rip some of them fat topics. Anyway, So to get to the meat and bones of the topic, Uplay or Ubisoft in particular has decided to pull Division 2 from Steam and exclusively upload it to outside of their own Uplay service, exclusive to the Epic Games Store launcher, which is sort of a new store that has come about in the last little bit, and it seems like they're trying as hard as possible to get games onto it. All kinds of indie developers, big developers, and I guess it's not necessarily a difficult pull because, as I understand it, the Epic Games Store launcher only asks for, I think it's between 8 and 18% of the revenue of the whatever products they're selling based on how many they sell, which is significantly less than what Steam asks for, and that's 30%, I believe.
Yeah.
So it seems like a lot of publishers are looking at this and going, we can make more money if we go with these guys, so that's why they're doing it.
Although there's much less support there in place.
So I guess, I don't know, I mean, Epic must have struck a deal with Ubisoft or something. I mean, there are still Ubisoft games coming to Steam. But I guess if this goes over well, then they'll probably be moving over there in the future. But it is interesting that they're doing it with something like Division. I mean, I know, Division's a popular game. Maybe isn't as popular as Assassin's Creed. I'm not sure on the figures. But it is an interesting change all the same, and it massively annoying because I had Steam money built up over Christmas to buy it on there when it came out in March. But of course I can't use that now because it's not fucking coming out on Steam. So I gotta wait.
It's a shitty time all around.
Yeah, it's dumb. Like I was getting into, like, and it's on the one hand it's great for developers, especially smaller ones that want to publish their game and make as much money as possible. It's good for them. And I'm good that there's competition in the market because Steam has kind of been by itself for a long time. I mean, there is Uplay and Origin, but they're not really.
And GOG, don't forget GOG.
And GOG, but I mean that's a lot of they all feel like different animals. Like Origin and Uplay, they're very much just for those publishers, EA and Ubisoft, and GOG. I don't know. I mean, GOG is definitely a thing, but I feel like it appeals to a slightly different audience, like a different PC audience. Like, I mean, there's still lots of games on there, but they tend to be older games and just maybe like
GOG
games
is focused on older titles, but
yeah, I mean there are new ones on there.
Of recent titles as well,
and it's good that exists as well because we get DRM free games through there. But Steam, I think it's just like Steam has just primarily been a very easy access storefront where it's all kinds of games. You launch it through there. It's like very straightforward. I think with like Uplay, you can't even buy games through the launcher. You need to go to the website. That seems very dumb to me, but anyway. So I guess it's good that we have the Epic launcher, as much as I hate having thousands of fucking launchers on the computer where I can just have all my games in one spot. But I don't know. It's aggravating.
I don't want to turn this into a PC versus console thing, and that's not what I'm trying to do. But what this is doing is making console gaming a little bit more viable when compared to PC gaming, because now, like, say we will about the PlayStation being compared to the PC in terms of performance, but at least on the PlayStation, all the shit is launched from the PlayStation. You don't have to worry about Origins or Uplay or Epic or Steam.
Yeah, that's the comparison I made. It's like imagine if there was an Origin app on your PlayStation that you had to download in order to launch your EA games. Like that's
that would be
fucking
so fucking stupid.
Yeah, it's just like, I don't know, let me buy the game and do what I want with it. Like, we need a launcher. We need, like, a universal launcher that you can plug all your accounts into and just launch it through that. That's what we need, like a universal game platform, so it doesn't matter where you have it. Somebody fucking make that already. But, yeah, it's just annoying because, people end up getting attached to one launcher over another. To Steam for me, in this case, because I have most of my games on it. And you end up forgetting about GOG, Galaxy, or whatever the hell it's called, or Origin, or Uplay. You forget about the games that you have on those platforms because you don't use it. And so it's just, I don't know, it's obviously like a consumer preference. And I don't, it's...
Well, I mean, there's a lot of... in a lot of industries, not just video games now, although certainly in video games it seems to be, because I guess we're facing eyes into it, there just seems to be a lot of anti-consumer practices going on in general in the world right now. But specifically in video games, they seem to be getting pretty egregious, because I guess video games are, even though they're making lots of money, they're still thought of as a very niche market, so not a lot of people are looking into it as opposed to, say, sports. So I guess, like, different, like, companies think that they can get away with not that this is a big crime or anything, but, like, stuff like loot boxes or console exclusivity or whatever. Not necessarily DLC. Except for I would argue loot boxes. Neither of those things are inherently evil, but they're kind of anti-consumer when you think about it, or at least they could be if taken to like an extreme case. And this is just another example of making it harder on the customer.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean that seems to be like a weird divide amongst a lot of distributors now. I guess it's a product of more things becoming digital only. Like, you don't go to the store and buy movies anymore. You don't go to the store and buy games anymore. It's kind of these streaming and service providers are effectively all of the stores that you would go to, except now you kind of need to stay within their ecosystem, which makes it a bit more annoying. Particularly if you get attached to one. Like I was saying, like I like Steam, I like Steam achievements, I like having all of my things kept in one place, and it kind of, that just makes it more of an enjoyable experience. But when like something doesn't have Steam, compatible, if it's not on Steam or it doesn't have achievements, or it's just it starts to divide it up a bit, and it gets really annoying. To spare repeating myself, it just becomes fucking frustrating having to deal with all these kinds of accounts and remembering passwords and shit.
Yeah, and like, I know, like, you people just say, well, why not just have the same password for things? Like, yeah, but that creates if somebody gets your password, which isn't inconceivable these days, somebody being able to grab your password information. Didn't Steam have a big... Somebody had a big...
I think everybody has at this point.
Yeah, but there was I think it was the company that... whatever company handles Sheraton's, Sheraton Hotels security, a couple of weeks ago, the kind of mid-December, they had a massive breach, and apparently, like, hundreds of millions of credit cards were stolen, like credit card numbers and stuff, because they had a massive breach. And so basically anybody who stayed in a Sheraton since 2011 had their credit card information stolen.
That's good. I should probably check into that then.
So Sheraton said that they would email you if they thought that your information was...
So we stayed at one in Montreal.
Yeah, well, I'm sure you're fine.
Yeah.
But it just seems like having the same password is you're taking a chance there, and especially with a service like Steam or whatever, somebody gets access to that account, they can just start racking up charges. Especially if you have like automatic withdrawals, not automatic withdrawals, but you know what I mean, where you don't have to like if it's like a PayPal account is attached to it, they can just buy.
And and even if you use the same password for things, sometimes, like, I know Origin, for me, I don't know what it's like for you guys if you use it, Adam. I know Andrew uses it. It never remembers my password, even though I say remember password, remember my login information.
Oh no, it never remembers my password.
It never remembers my password, so I like type it in. I'm like, okay, well, this is the password I use elsewhere. Doesn't work. Type in a similar one, maybe an older one. Nope, don't work. Then you reset it, and then it's like, well, you can't use the same password you've used within the last 6 months. So then you got to pick something turbo obscure because you've already used like 10 other passwords, and then you absolutely can't remember it the next time because it's something you've never used before. So it's annoying shit like that. I wish there was just one game. Like maybe it's a level of OCD, but like if I like keeping all of my games in one shelf, you know what I mean? Like if I'm going to buy a game, I want to have all the same kind of case. If I'm going to get something, I want it to have the same aesthetic. So when there's so many different storefronts, it just gets annoying. I wish there was one program that I could connect all of my shit to and just keep everything uniform and the same. Keep track of achievement progress and all that. But anyway, that's just me.
Yeah, no, I feel the same way. It's why, like, because the previous console generation, I was on 360. I switched over to PlayStation for this generation. and so half my games library is on a different, not only on a different console, but a different like generation. So I don't have like, not that it's a big deal to switch over to Xbox and stuff, but it'd be nice to see like all of my achievements and all the different games I play kind of on one thing. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
On one profile. So.
Yeah. I guess that's the trade-off with like PC gaming. You can keep it sort of all in the same thing regardless of generation, but you do run into the fucking different providers and shit.
And I mean, like, again, not to make it a console versus PC race, because God knows that consoles have their own problems, but PCs are not without their issues as well, and this is just, like, one that's coming up lately, as everyone seems to want to have their own launcher. I feel like it's a bit late to getting into the launcher game, though, because one would think that Steam had already had that race kind of sewn up, because they've been at it so
Certainly an
long.
uphill battle.
Because remember when, like, WoW came out, and it was out for like 6 years and was doing really well, and then like 6 or 7 years after WoW had already dominated the market, everyone else was like, let's make our own MMO, and everyone was like, yeah, but you're fighting it up, you know, like Andrew said, you're fighting an uphill battle here, and all of them failed except for WoW, and maybe Guild Wars if you want to count that one, because Guild Wars didn't seem like a big piece of shit.
Yeah. I think I think we were talking about that not that long ago. It has introduced microtransactions and loot boxes and stuff, so it is not a free service anymore.
WoW?
But besides, Guild Wars. But
Yes, yeah.
It's as much as I hate the launchers, like we've been saying, it is good. Hopefully, Steam sort of changes how it treats developers moving forward, and giving them more money, a bit of a closer split to what Epic is doing. If Epic sort of actually sticks around long enough to make an impact, but hopefully that'll then trickle down to consumers and stuff, because I guess if developers are making more money for a smaller price, then I guess, well, maybe it'll stay the same, but maybe the sale prices will be lower. I have to wait and see, I guess, but that's that. I guess we'll have more on Division 2 when that gets closer to launch.
When is it coming out in March?
Come out in March, and there'll be a beta before then. I don't know if there's an NDA on the beta, but if there is, I'll be sure to not tell you anything about it.
You're really good with... one thing I have to say about you, Aaron, is you're really good with NDAs.
Yeah, I absolutely don't indulge. Rory, though, he gotta watch it.
Yeah.
He's gonna get in trouble one of these days.
Is Division a game that's supposed to take place in Washington?
Yeah, so the second game takes place in Washington, D.C., 6 months after the events of the first game. So it is the summertime now, so there's no snow anymore. It's gonna be all, oh Jesus, that flew off. It's gonna be all overgrowth and whatnot, and a bit more proper apocalypse.
Tell me, have they modeled all of DC?
I believe they modeled most of it in 1-to-1.
Wow,
which is
That's
nice.
actually pretty impressive.
It's not, it's not like it's like.
Can I personally walk into the Oval Office and execute Donald Trump?
I see. That's the thing. Like, I feel like a lot of
Adam's joking.
I'm joking. Oh god!
Nah, they're all shut down anyway. No government agents are working.
Can you imagine two FBI agents are sitting looking at different feeds of information coming, and you see like one comes in, getting highlighted by the computer, being like, okay, John, we're gonna strike at the president of the White House tomorrow. Do you got the explosives ready? Yeah, we got the explosives ready. The men are in position. We'll hit at dawn. And the FBI's like, should we report this? Like, nah, the government's shut down.
We're on strike.
Yeah, we're on. Yeah, we're not even getting paid for this. Fuck them.
Dude walks in with an AK, not White House. This dude sitting down like, I'm not getting paid for this.
The Secret Service just wave them through.
Go on in.
Yeah. Shit, if you got more guns than we got, you're basically in charge now.
I haven't looked into the map size or anything, but I imagine it's probably similar to the size of the first game, which is like, it's not all of Manhattan, but it's probably half of it, a good third of it. They've added more of it since launch. I don't know. Can I see the full? No, I'm in the underground right now, so I can't see the full map. But it's a nice chunk of Manhattan, which is cool, and that's all built in 1-to-1 scale as well, like streets and parking lots and everything. A lot of people who live in New York say it's modeled fairly accurately. So it's cool to see something built like that. And I've been reading through the I guess I call it a companion book, I guess, that came out with it called the the New York Collapse, I think is what it's called, and it's ultimately it's a sort of in-game book. To kind of derail the podcast a bit, you can collect pages from it in this game, which is kind of neat. But the actual book is like written like a full-on like what to do in a major like global crisis almost. It's just sort of like a what happens if the world goes to shit type book.
Is it? Does it give you the advice to go full Mad Max right away?
Yeah.
Good. I've told you about that, right? That's my strategy.
Yes, I've done it multiple times. Yes.
All right. Good.
Staple as many car parts to your body as possible.
Car
Within
parts and
24
colanders.
hours.
Within
Yeah.
20. It's not like to be clear, it's not like it's the first couple of weeks you got to do that. As soon
gotta
as
go
the power
insane
fluctuates. As soon as the power fluctuates, like the
L2,
power grid
that's it,
starts
watch
getting a bit
out.
unreliable, colanders and tires onto your body, you're getting tattoos, you're talking about Valhalla and shiny and chrome, mediocre, and then you're going out and beheading your neighbors and sticking their heads on pikes outside of your yard, and everybody, so when the gangs come up the street, you're going to be like, white picket fence, white picket fence, white picket fence. Oh shit! Maybe we'll give that house a skip. And I'm standing out front like a Tuscan Raider, like with I don't know a hockey stick or something because it's Canada.
Oh man,
Yeah.
what a clever pun! Someone wrote the end is nigh, but they just wrote NY.
Oh man,
But anyway, it's a really good
Now
book.
that's clever writing only an out of
man.
touch French writer can do.
I was gonna say is Jeff from our D&D game writing that book?
I really do like the book though, because one of the in-universe characters. Oh, that's cool. You face through the door. One of the in-universe characters has like written in the margins of the book, and she's like telling stories of like what happened to her and sort of taking some of the advice in the book and using it literally and like what happened. And then there's a bunch of like Easter eggs hidden within it, like different lettering and stuff, and it's really cool. I haven't seen anything like it before. I don't know if it's been inspired by anything, but it's really neat to see like real world locations written into this book that are also places you can go and visit in game. And then there's like sort of puzzles associated with them. There's a map and like a subway card and a bunch of post-it notes like inside the book that you can like move around, and if you put them in the right place or you use them in the right way or you go to the right location in the game, you can like solve these little mini stories. It's really cool that they paid enough attention to that sort of detail. It's cool.
It does seem pretty cool. One thing I will say about because the Division didn't really strike me because maybe I didn't give it I played long enough that I knew the gameplay wasn't get it, but the story, there seemed to be something interesting going on with the background lore of the story. Kind of similar to Destiny, where Destiny has a lot of really interesting stuff in it. It's just all in the background, as none of it's in the foreground, and that's what's annoying about Destiny, aside from all the other things that are annoying about Destiny.
Yeah. I mean, there's a bit more of a story, I would say, in Division if you fully play through.
Oh
it.
yeah.
It definitely starts to tie into a lot of the background stuff that's going on. I mean, at the beginning, it's very much just about the Division fixing New York, but then they get into all these little side stories and stuff. But yeah, what threw me off of it at the beginning, and it hasn't changed a lot since it launched, is that it's weird having leveled enemies and better guns that are the same mechanically. Like that's a hurdle, and ultimately, I feel like maybe this game inspired Assassin's Creed as well, because I feel like Origins plays a lot like this game.
Oh, it absolutely does, and Odyssey is even more like it.
Yeah,
I don't like that. Not really.
yeah. I mean, I agree. It's not realistic, and it's weird for a Tom Clancy game, especially to play like it. But from a very gamey kind of just mechanics point of view, it's satisfying. It doesn't really make any sense, and it really doesn't lend itself to the narrative in any way, but it's fun, and I guess that's just why it works, for really no other reason than that. So I enjoy it. So I guess
I mean, I still like Destiny. and so I'm in no position to complain about somebody else.
Yeah,
liking
I
video
don't
games so
mind.
far.
I don't mind Destiny either. To be honest, it just is very short. There's like
There's nothing to it.
4 hour story, and then you basically got to buy DLC.
Yeah, in order to get the full story of Destiny 1, you need to buy 4 pieces of DLC. I think I calculated it was like something like $160, $180 you needed for the full experience of the game, which is fucking atrocious.
Yeah, that's too much. Like
Like
I don't know what
Mass
Division costs, but you could have got it over the winter sale for like with all the DLC for like $30. So
Well, Mass Effect I think is the right way to go about it. Where if you play Mass Effect 3, you buy Mass Effect 3 for $80 or whatever Canadian, play it all the way through, you get a full complete story. No matter what, I mean, it's the end part of a trilogy, but you know what I mean.
yeah.
The DLC add on to the story and add on to the experience, but they're not necessary to the experience, and nor does it feel like it's grafting necessary things on. It's an addition, but nothing more, and that's why I'm more willing to buy the Mass Effect DLC, because again, it doesn't feel like I'm being like stuff was being withheld to make more money later.
Oh yeah. And
Witcher
that's
3 is like that as well.
Yeah.
it's great for single player games to get these big things, but I think to compare more directly between like a game like Destiny and a game like Division is you actually don't need the DLC in Division to do everything. Like there's nothing, the only thing that's locked behind the DLC paywall is those new levels. There's no content or unlockables that is exclusive to the DLC. So it's like, oh, I gotta buy this DLC to get these new guns. Like, nope, you can get them in the base game. You just, it might be a little different or slightly more difficult. But ultimately,
So why sell the DLC? What is the DLC then?
well, specifically, there are 3 pieces of DLC. One of them is a survival mode. So you can, I guess, just go and do some survival shit. You collect sort of the same material. You essentially start from scratch in like a survival environment and collect the same things. You can extract some items, and then you can use those in your sort of main core game, which are items you could have gotten in the main game anyway. Then there's the underground, which is what I'm doing now. This is sort of like procedurally generated subway levels that let you kind of just do like cross sections of the main story levels, like run through the subway and kill a named boss, basically, with like different objectives. And then there's a third one, which I don't think anybody uses at all, which is a PvP mode. And that's it. The rest of it is just the main story in the Dark Zone.
What is the PvP like in the game anyway?
I don't think people like it because I guess it's just the way it's structured. Like you don't need health packs or anything. A lot of the builds that you can get with different legendary gear sets let you heal very quickly. There's also a lot of like health pickups and stuff. Like if people are working together as a team, and I think that's how the PvP mode works. It's like 4v4 or 5v5 or something like that. You can get really strong like health builds and then DPS builds so that you can be basically constantly at full health and there's almost nothing you can do to kill people. And even on your own, just like your solo build, you can heal relatively quickly. So a lot of the complaints I've seen about it is that people, they heal too fast for there to be like a proper like gun on, shooting at each other experience. You just like you kind of just run up to each other and just melee the shit out of each other, or somebody runs off and then heals. It just seems very clunky. I think game seems to be tailored to PvE.
I will say Division 1 is kind of like Jurassic World Evolution or Spider-Man are games that I would point to, recent games that I would point to say like these are games that deserve sequels because they were pretty good. I mean, I don't like The Division, but a lot of other people did. These are pretty good games, and a sequel could only improve upon issues that they have. Because I would argue that all 3 games have core issues with them, not enough to detract from the experience, but certainly things that could be fixed if they ever get a sequel. So I'm glad. I hope a lot of those issues are going to get fixed in the sequel for the Division players.
Yeah, I'm hopeful as well because the team that they brought in, like the core group of players that were still playing the Division after Massive had somewhat deemed it a failure, they asked them to come in and be like, what do you like about the game? What can we fix? And essentially they changed Division to what it is now, and I think it's a much more satisfying experience. They have brought that team in already to do like very closed alpha testing to make sure that it's like, it's not shit at launch. And I know a couple of the people that are part of that team, and they haven't really said anything about it yet because they're not allowed to, but they seem very excited for the launch of it. A lot of them have been going back and playing the first Division, which to me says they're excited for the second one. So hopefully there's a lot of like anything that was a core fault that they couldn't really change coding wise with the first game. Hopefully that's been like taken into account and given a proper go this time around. So anyway,
Hopefully.
yeah. Anyway, well, I guess we can run through the rest of this and clue it up. What do we got here? We got a trailer for Metro Exodus.
Are we skipping the?
Oh,
Netflix
hang on.
thing?
Never mind. I thought I saw DC and assumed it was about Aquaman.
Do you even know what the show is? Because I don't.
What is it?
I don't know.
Does it
Rory
ever
added
revert?
it to the list.
What's it called?
DC does a reverse Disney and puts their new show on Netflix.
It's also credited as a Netflix.
Yeah.
Oh,
I assume, is he referring to
I
Titans?
do know what he's talking about here. So Titans is now on Netflix. So it's no longer on DC All Access or whatever it was on before. They're putting this on Access. I guess they want to entice other people to be like, hey, if you like this, check out some of our other stuff. Which
I don't know if there's a maybe it'll be changing when the Disney service goes live, but it seems like lately Netflix has been releasing Marvel and I guess Lucasfilm properties, but for a limited time. Like Infinity War was just added to Netflix, Solo was just added to Netflix. So I feel like those will be on there for like a year and then removed again, the same way that Episode 7 was removed.
yeah,
And some of the other earlier Marvel movies were removed. Maybe so. I don't know if they're going to continue doing that, or if it's going to stop, like full stop when the Disney service starts. But I don't know. I guess that's good. Maybe people don't watch Disney stuff. I don't know. Fucking stop shocking me, Jesus Christ.
Again, this is the same issue that we have with Steam, where Netflix has been so long and so established in the industry that you're fighting an uphill battle to try and get people to lose their Netflix subscription. I think it would just be better if Disney kept all their shit on Netflix and be like, yeah, just give us whatever percentage of the profits, work out whatever deal. That being said, with both Marvel and Star Wars, that's a pretty good incentive to go over to Disney. But except for the hardcore DC fans, who is joining DC Access? I mean, pardon me,
I
love
don't have
DC.
a lot of stuff at the moment. I don't think.
Like the only thing that was
shows.
the only reason I might get DC Access is because the new season of Young Justice is on there, and Young Justice is one of the best TV shows to come out this decade. It's absolutely fantastic, and when it was canceled, I was really sad, and I'm glad that they're bringing it back. I was hoping it was going to be on Netflix, but it's just a DC All Access thing, so I'm looking forward to that. And Harley Quinn's new show looks good as well. So, I might pick it up then, but it's a lot of money to be spending on a service for just 2 shows. It's the same way I feel about Amazon Prime. The only reason I have a Prime account is to watch Top Gear, and that's a lot of money per month for one show,
Yeah.
Whereas Netflix, I'm paying for, name the number of good shows on Netflix,
I mean,
The
I don't know.
Office.
I'm probably a bad one because I'm somewhat considering getting rid of my Netflix subscription.
Oh, really?
So yeah, I don't know this. Just because they're removing everything. A lot of the stuff that I would watch on there, they keep getting rid of. Like they got rid of Buffy.
Well, I mean, that's why I buy the DVDs and stuff. Of stuff I really like. I try to get the DVDs.
Yeah, but
so
it's just
I
more
always
convenient.
have
Like
them.
I have Buffy on DVD, but it's so much more convenient to just click Netflix and click an episode.
But at
rather
the end
than
of the day,
swapping
like
discs
if
every 8
Netflix
seconds.
takes away Buffy from you, which they have, you still have access to Buffy. You don't
Yeah, I
have
know, but that's somewhat outside of my point. That's why I'm considering getting rid of Netflix, because like everything on there goes away. It seems like Fringe is gone. I was gonna watch that. That's gone. a bunch of shows that were on there that I was going to watch.
Now,
There's some stuff.
Netflix has the bonus of having a lot of good like original programming that is probably never going to go away. So like
Yeah, and that's fair enough. But I mean, Stranger Things, I would say, is probably the only original show on there that I would consider keeping it for. Like, the first season of Jessica Jones was good, but most of the other Marvel stuff is kind of mediocre at best.
Mediocre.
Definitely not worth a Netflix subscription for. And everything else on there is like Marvel movies, which is going to be on their own service at some point, so why keep Netflix?
Well, I mean, there's like Black Mirror and stuff like that.
I haven't watched it. I mean, a lot of the shows on there I haven't watched, and not because they're not good, but it's either because they don't really appeal to me, or I just don't have the interest to sit down and watch it. I'd rather spend time playing games rather than watching a show. And sometimes, like, I'll play a game, which is why The Division is good in some respects, because once you get past the story stuff, you can just kind of toss a show on and then play the game. You're kind of being productive while watching a show. So that's why I like some games like that, but I don't know. It's just not... I wish they had like more stuff on there, and I wish they just kept it. Like, fuck off with licensing and stuff.
Yeah, I'm getting to that point too, where it's just like fuck off with licensing, because like I always point out to this example, but Rory bought whatever fucking service, Sony All Access or whatever it was, and in order to watch Powers, and then it came out, I was like, oh yeah, you can't watch Powers in Canada. I was like, why?
Yeah.
Like, it's in that case,
it was the same with Prime as well. Like when Grand Tour started, there was like, and it was only very briefly at the beginning of the launch, but it's like a lot of people got Prime subscriptions to watch this show immediately, and they can't watch it because of some weird, like, oh, you can only watch it in the States for the first week. Or you can't, and there's a couple other shows on Prime that were advertised to me as Prime shows, but I couldn't watch them because I'm in Canada. It's like, fucking why? These are your shows. Don't you own the license to them? Like, who else is distributing these Prime originals? It just seems so fucking stupid to lock up content like that.
I'm sure there's a good reason as to why that is, and it's definitely not something stupid and arbitrary.
Anyway, yeah, I don't know. Do we just, like, I would just rather buy the DVD and then torrent it so I can have a digital copy that I can watch whenever I want. So much more convenient.
That's illegal, Aaron.
Yeah, well, fucking... it's 2019 already. Give me fucking a convenient experience. Anyway.
I mean, Apple Music was supposed to be that for a long time. Like everyone's putting their stuff up on iTunes, except they weren't. And now we're getting to the point where like people are doing it to Spotify and stuff. But like you got to wonder, like, my cousin said, like, I got a cousin and he's like, he's younger. He says, I don't have to buy any CDs ever. Like, I'm going to have access, all my music's going to be on Spotify and it's so much more convenient. I'm like, yeah, what happens when Spotify goes away? And is he going to be without music?
Yeah, I mean, just buy music at that point, I guess,
Yeah. Again, maybe it's because I'm old-fashioned and I don't get it, but, like, I would rather own the thing. Just so I always have it.
It's convenient to own it, but... it's on some levels, where are you putting all your shit to? Because now you have 7,000 video games and 800 albums and 900 movies. Like, where's all that going? And then on the other level, it's like, in 10 years, are you still going to have a means of playing that? We're kind of lucky now because a lot of media is sort of put together in a lossy format. So like it's kind of we get Blu-ray and stuff. It's pretty high quality. Now, obviously, we're going to be getting into higher resolutions and stuff going towards the future, and Blu-ray will eventually be obsolete because it's not high enough quality. But, having digital stuff is good because they sort of look after all that shit. Like, if there's a better version of it, then they do it.
I wish there was a way, like an easier way of buying stuff digitally. Like, if there was, like, a block, like a Best Buy where you just go in online and say, hey, I want a digital vertion of Star Wars, and you pay $20 and you get the the download file.
Yeah, that's sort of what I want. I want and it's kind of happened to a degree. I want movies and shows and music on Steam, like or a service like that. Like you have Netflix, why can't I buy shows on Netflix and then I own them forever and I can always watch them on Netflix? You know what I mean? Like, why is it a stream thing, and once it's off the streaming service, I can't use it anymore? That's kind of, I don't know. I don't know why there's no popular big service where you can buy digital movies and stuff. Like, you always buy a Blu-ray, and then it says, like, it includes digital copy. But then, if you've ever actually gone through and tried to use that, it's like just some shitty American streaming service where you gotta, like, download a definitely not a virus app and launch through their turbo shitty, like, 500 kilobit buffering player. This is fucking awful. Why can't I just watch it? Like, it's really terrible. It's a fucking awful system. Who knows? Maybe Epic will let you buy movies and shows eventually, and we'll be like, "Oh man, Epic is the best one."
I mean, I agree with you for the most part, Aaron. It's a shitty system, and there's no really good solution. Like, I would argue that Netflix or owning them yourselves are the best solutions that we got, but neither of those are perfect. Like, yeah. I want, like, I would really like a better solution than that, but we're not gonna get it, so it's just grim and bear it because we're in the era of fuck the customer.
Kinda, yeah. Gotta have a subscription service. Anyway, speaking of the apocalypse, Metro Exodus got a trailer.
This looks pretty good.
It does.
Looks pretty alright.
Is the girl in the trailer, because it's mostly a female voice in the trailer with a female character, is she the main character in the story, or is it still, was it Anton was his name?
Artyom.
Artyom. Is he the character in the story?
Yep.
Oh, okay.
Because that's Anna. You meet her in the second one.
Yeah. I remember that. I just didn't know if she was taking over as protagonist because something happened to him in the interim.
Well, he dies at the end of the second one if you get the bad ending.
Oh man, that's the canon one.
So I'm guessing this is the
canon ending is the good one where you don't die.
Okay.
Yeah.
But it would be neat. It would have been a neat thing if.
If they released like a DLC
you
pack,
could choose. Well, yeah, maybe like an alternate story where
like the Force Awakens
did die at the end of the second one, and you play as her. That would be neat. But like it doesn't really matter because
not the Force Awakens, the Force Unleashed. That's what I meant to say. Force Unleashed DLC.
Yeah.
Yeah, it looks cool. I hope there's actually ammo in this game. That'd be nice.
Well, the second one takes a much more run and gun approach.
Okay.
If you want that. And if you play the Redux of 2033, there is an option for to not be a survival game, more of a first person shooter. It's called Spartan mode instead of survival mode.
I genuinely have no idea how anybody has played through that legitimately, without just running through levels because you had no ammo. Because I did everything in that playthrough to get as much ammo as possible, and you still only have 4 bullets most of the time. So it's how am I supposed to kill these 47 enemies in this level with my 4 bullets? It was really kind of dumb, I thought.
I guess you suck.
Guess so. See, I got to a point in the first game where there was these, I don't know what the hell they are. They were like Yetis or golems or something. Some weird-ass white things running and screaming at me. Except the area I was in, they spawned infinitely. So, one would run at me. I was hiding up in the ceiling of a building as I was trying to get away from them. One runs up, I kill it.
Were you in the library?
I can't remember where. It was somewhere outside. It was kind of a broken building. It had a hole in the wall, and there was a broken floor that you could climb up into the next level. Something like that. Anyway, I'd kill a bunch of them, and they just kept respawning over and over and over and over and over until I had no ammo left, and then I just had to run to the end of the level, and they kept spawning, infinitely. I can't get through this level because there's an infinite amount of these fucking enemies spawning. So I don't know how the hell I'm supposed to get through here. Anyway, and there was also, somewhat unrelated, I ended up getting through a level, but I couldn't. There was a guy I had to talk to, and it wasn't giving me a button prompt, so it broke my save, and I had to replay the previous level. So that was also good, yeah. Anyway.
Well, you should give the Redux a try, because it updates the gameplay with the second one.
What's the
engine, I guess?
What's the other game that came out? It's an older game, and it also takes place in Russia in a nuclear apocalypse, but it's much more
Stalker.
Yes. Okay. It's Stalker.
It's not a nuclear apocalypse. It's just Chernobyl.
That's kind of a nuclear apocalypse, though.
Well, yeah, it's like a condensed version of the nuclear apocalypse.
Apocalypse. Anyway, speaking of gun dudes, Punisher didn't get canceled. Season 2 coming out soon.
That's surprising.
It is.
I bet it takes like 2 months and then it'll get canceled.
Yeah.
Maybe. Apparently, Jessica Jones is getting a 3rd season as well.
Oh, really?
Oh, yay! That's the best one.
And
Are you being serious?
No, second season was garbage.
Oh,
they have not.
First season is great.
They haven't mentioned anything about a Defenders season yet. But
I doubt we'll get a Defenders.
Probably not, but they haven't canceled it yet.
Yeah.
What about the Inhumans? What about my favorite superhero team?
Oh, they're long dead.
No.
They're supposed to get a movie and then it turned into a show and then that got canceled immediately.
Because it was awful.
I mean, if you want Inhuman stuff, just watch Shield. Honestly, there's a lot of Inhuman stuff on there.
Is this
Is
still
still on?
Agents of Shield? Yes, they were renewed.
Wow.
Oh, sweet, good for them. Is it 6th season now?
I think so. Yeah. I mean, I don't know. It's not bad. It's definitely not good, but they've done some interesting stories. They kind of tied the last season, the last half of it anyway, into Infinity War.
It's not bad. It's definitely not good.
No, I mean the production value is awful, and some of the acting is not great, and it's shot, like it's shot the way a low budget TV show is shot. But they've at least tried some interesting comic booky things. Oh shit on my asshole! These are hunters. I didn't. Oh fuck! I forgot I was. I'm doing this to fight hunters, and I realized hunters just came out, and they're way stronger than normal enemies. Anyway.
Do you mean
anyway? Resounding endorsement from Aaron.
Yeah.
Watch Agents of Shield.
Are they hunters that leap from building to building and pin you to the ground and just slash you constantly? Or are they the hunters with the big shields and the plasma cannons on their forearms?
Neither.
No.
They're just like other division agents.
I was making a Halo and a Left 4 Dead joke there.
I would say it's really not even a solid. Like I think it was the end of the last half of season 3 or 4. I think maybe it was 4. Was really fucking good. It was like, oh man, this is top shelf shit here. Low budget TV, but fuck me, it's a good story. And then it kind of continued with that a little bit. They went to space at one point, and it was like, oh, what the fuck? And they did some interesting things there, but then it kind of just went back into Agents of Shield. But yeah, yeah, no, it was good. You should watch it.
Hey, Aaron.
Yeah, let's go.
You love horror games, correct?
Holy
They're all right, yeah.
What is the scariest horror game that you've played?
Why you say it like that?
So it doesn't sound like I'm saying horror, which is an entirely different genre of games.
That is true. Although you could combine them, it'd be interesting.
Is it Five Nights at Freddy's?
Absolutely not. I don't like Flash games. Not ones that I have made anyway. No, mine were awful too. I don't know. Maybe Aliens. Like the franchise, not the generic term for everything that's not human.
Well, specifically, what game is your favorite horror game?
On maybe Isolation.
Alien Isolation?
Yeah.
Well, I've got good news for you.
Oh, really?
I hope you have a phone or tablet handy, because in order to continue Amanda Ripley's story, you can play a new Alien game called Blackout, which is a mobile-only Alien game. Does that not interest you?
No.
That's so excited. No, fuck no. That's fucking stupid.
What, you don't like this? You don't tell me you'd rather an actual sequel.
No, and I think most people would as well. I mean, playing coy into this whole thing, I absolutely knew what this topic was about. A lot of people asked.
I don't believe you.
A lot of people asked Fox about this because there was a little disclaimer, a little snippet saying, continue Amanda Ripley's story, blah, blah, blah. And it's like, oh, man, fuck me. We're going to get a sequel to Isolation. Fuck yeah. And then a bunch of people asked Fox, and they're like, is this a proper Isolation sequel? They're like, no, this is a mobile game. And everyone's like, what? Why are you doing this? When are we getting an Isolation sequel? And they're like, well, we have no plans for that.
Do you not have a phone?
No, I don't have a phone. Nobody has phones in 2019.
Shout out to Blizzard.
Nobody has phones in 2019. Get with it, Blizzard. What are you, fucking a bunch of old men, old bald men sitting in a room?
Yeah,
fucking get with
fisting
it.
themselves endlessly.
Fucking downloading pictures of Amanda Ripley naked on their fax machine. Fucking, oh man, let's make a game about that.
Do you remember the episode of Simpsons
like
where
stick figures and shit?
Where
ASCII
book guy is
type.
trying to look at Star Trek porn, and he's trying to download like naked pictures of Captain Janeway from Voyager.
Yeah.
And he's on like a dial-up modem. He's like, soon the porn shall be mine, or however the comic book guy sounds. I don't do a good impression. And you see the screen like slowly like lower down, and just before it gets to the boobs, a big banner ad comes up. Just imagine that's what like porn over fax looks like. Just like the picture slowly comes out.
Yeah, fax was terrible. It was a bad idea from the beginning. Anyway.
You know what? It had some uses. You could draw on a piece of paper and send it to somebody.
Yeah, over the course of like 10 minutes.
My
yeah,
business still
you
largely
can't do
uses
that
fax,
with a
very
printer.
annoying.
You could if you had a scanner on that printer.
How am I supposed to print something out and send it to him via computer?
No. You just take a piece of paper and you draw on it, and then you put it in your fax machine, and you call somebody else with a fax machine, and it sends it to it.
And then after they pick up the phone and go, hello? Hello? You call them back, and then you say, don't pick up the phone, I'm sending you a fax. And then you call again, and then somebody else picks up and goes, hello?
Yeah.
Like, stop picking up the fucking phone, I'm trying to send you a fax.
I think the fax has a separate number.
That happens all the time.
Not always.
Where I work now, the fax line and the phone line used to be the same line, so I'd be in the middle of a call, and then all of a sudden you just hear like, yeah, so what can I help? You know, what's going on with your alarm system? It's like, fucking Jesus. Goddamn. So I had to like go over and unplug the fax machine when I was making important calls and make sure I didn't get a fax, and it'd be coming in something like, my name is like Joe Kumbimbe or something. I'm the deposed prince of Namibia.
In Newfoundland.
Give me $100 so I can like I'm willing to share with you my entire kingdom. You just need to wire me some collateral. I need $1,267.35 of collateral. I'm like, that's a very specific number. I guess he's converting it from euros.
Where's he from?
Kenya or Namibia or something like that.
They're a very specific group of people.
The best part is they would always have a really you could tell it was written by like some white dude somewhere in the world, because they had really like racist names. Like, my name is Ngumba, like Mimbayane, and it's just like, Jesus Christ, have you ever met anybody from Africa in your fucking life? God
okay,
damn,
but a lot of scammers are from that area. What if those were actual names and you just called them out?
Well, I don't know.
That's pretty racist of you.
It probably is, but it seemed like, I don't know. Anyway. First off, fuck them for attempting to scam me in the first place.
Your name is John and you're from America? As if. Yeah, right. Like anyone in America.
That's the most fake
John.
name I've ever heard.
Have you ever seen the thing online where like it's like a Japanese baseball game, and it was set in America, but like you could tell that none of the Japanese people had ever been to America, because they had to try and come up with like American sounding names, but it was stuff like Adekin Janssen or something like that, or like Windwalk, like White Way, like Jimitown or something like it was just like nonsense names that sounded vaguely American. So it would be
White
it's like
Way Jimmytown.
Yeah, it's just like it would. Fuck, I gotta see if I can find that. Come up with some examples.
White Way Jimmystown sounds like a really racist street. In Jimmytown.
White Way only goes right.
Yeah.
Anyway, while Adam looks for something racist, we can talk about the last thing I heard to include up.
Oh, thank Christ.
THQ Nordic, for some reason over the holidays, decided to acquire the rights to a little gem that me and Andrew like for reasons. Outcast. An old 90s game with the voxel...
I thought you were. I thought this was talking about the musical group known as Outcast.
Yeah, oh man, they got all the THQ Nordic games.
Hey, yeah. Hey, yeah.
So some of the names are Sleeve McDykel, Onson Swindley,
Sounds like a great name for a
Arnchild,
lesbian.
Arnchildel, Antoli Sonoran, Ray Mischeriff, Glen Al Mixon, and it goes on from there.
Sweet.
Don't you make fun of Glen Al Nixon.
Sleeve McDykel.
Yeah, that's a great porn star name.
Or my good buddy Sleeve. You shut your whore mouth. I meant to say horror mouth.
Don't make fun of
it's
Meat
scary,
Mitten
the stuff you
McMaster.
say.
That's some fucking alliteration there. Anyway, I don't know what the hell they plan to do with the Outcast rights, but I don't know why they would buy it if they plan to shelve it. Unless they hated it as much as Todd Howard probably does.
They hate it so much they bought the rights so nobody else could make it. So nobody could ever make another Outcast game.
Unless they want to make royalties off the recently released, Second Contact? Somewhat remake of the first game. Which I haven't played. I don't know if it's any good or not. But it'd be cool if we got an Outcast 2, maybe, with a proper sequel.
As opposed to the one in the fucking American Deep South, or the Appalachians, or wherever it was, wherever that last one was.
What? You talking about Outlast?
Yeah. What are you talking about?
Outcast.
Outcast.
Oh, what's Outcast?
It's a 90s action game, very heavy in voxel technology, so you can step in snow and there'd be footprints and stuff, like actual 3D mesh footprints. And you were play as some weird American guy with a very alliterative name, and then
it's a sci-fi game.
Yeah, he gets on a spaceship or something and goes to another alien world and has to track down his science team or something. It's a retarded story, but it's a cool 90s game.
It's like Stargate, kind of.
Okay, that's cool.
There are elements that will remind you of Stargate in the in the game,
like SG-1 or Atlantis.
Anyway, it would be nice to get a proper sequel with that same sort of more modernized voxel technology. And all the physics and everything. Sort of, I feel like it was more of almost like a technical demonstration of the time rather than a straight up good game that played well. I would like to see something more akin to that come out as well, rather than just sort of a generic platformy action shooter. Give me that super good lighting and voxel visuals and all that kind of cool shit.
So like a kind of what Red Dead Redemption 2 does, but even more so.
Yeah, I mean, maybe more akin to something like what Half-Life 2 did. It's got a very cutting-edge physics. It would be nice. Anyway, I don't know what else Nordic has made, but hopefully they have the. I feel like it's a familiar name, but I can't remember anything that they've made. But hopefully they make something with it.
What, THQ Nordic?
Yeah.
Let's see what they've made.
Did they do Frostpunk, or is that somebody else?
Well, they're publisher, right? So
yeah.
I don't know if they actually make games, but Darksiders.
That's what I meant. Okay, Darksiders.
Red Faction.
Okay, that's good. Cause right. They did. Did they do Gorilla?
Yeah.
Okay. Cause that was pretty good too. That wasn't cutting edge or anything, but it had a lot of cool destructible physics in it. So I think that's probably a good place for that game to be in.
Well, Alan Wake.
I haven't played that. Would like to though.
Fuck that game.
Anyway. So maybe that'll do it for this week, I guess.
Yeah. Good thing we went with a short podcast.
Yeah, that's always an hour and a half.
Really short one this week.
Make it short.
Yeah.
Anyway, I guess we'll see y'all next week. And,
thank you very much for listening.
Anything else that happens during the week?
You know where to check out and check on us. Also, our sincerest hope to Dave. Our prayers and thoughts and prayers are with Dave, who is currently sitting outside of a post office attempting to mail a letter, but he can't because the government shut down. So he's firmly grasping that letter in his clenched fist of rage, shaking it at the sky, going Trump, because he wants to mail a letter out to somebody, but he can't because the government shut down. And then he went to go talk about it on the internet, but he can't because the government shut down.
Who's mailing letters in 2019?
Dave is. Pay attention.
I see. Well, there you go.
The government's not going to start back up for one guy.
But it's to spite him.
Did. Well, they are, because it's when Trump gets his way, that's when they're going to start up. But not to bring politics in an hour and a half into this fucking podcast.
Yeah.
Anyway.
America's terrible. Anyway, We'll see you next time.
Bye.
Goodbye.
Bye.